Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Good morning, it's 6 o'clock on Saturday the 7th of May. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land, and it's a beautiful morning. Sun's peeking out above the trees there, really quite glorious. And it's really nice to see all of this hawthorn blossom on the hedgerows. Spring is definitely sprung. Everything is blooming. All these little, what will be catkins on this tree. Really nice to see. And really good news, we had, don't know if you can see it on the grass or not, actually. That's not frost, that's a really heavy dew. We had a tiny bit of rain yesterday and a bit of rain the day before. So I'm hoping that it's managed to top up the rainwater harvesting barrels, because I was starting to use an awful lot. Really dry this year. I'm not getting overly excited because it wasn't exactly a downpour, but every little helps, so really pleased. It'll save me watering the raised beds this weekend for sure. But I will need to get in the polytunnel in the garden room and do some watering. Very nice to see all of the flowers on the fruit trees. Very nice. And again, we've got some beautiful flowers on the hawthorns. So the bees should be very happy. Anyway, let me get inside, get opened up. We'll sort the chickens out, get the kettle on for sure, and have a little chat. First things first, as usual, sorting the chickens out. They're all busy pecking around. Look at the mess. So much mess. But they do give me an exchange for me clearing out the mess. They do give me a nice little harvest of eggs. Well, they've gone a bit overboard in here today. I don't know what the attraction is of laying in the same nest box time after time. I mean, it's not like they haven't got any more to go at. But they invariably put them all in here. Crazy. Well, I've got a couple of days worth here, so look at that. Very nice. Well, good morning. It's the weekend again. And to be fair, it's a pretty beautiful morning out there. Sun's up over the trees, even though it is early. I guess it's that time of year now, isn't it? The sun's up early and stays up till late. Which is nice, because over coming weeks, weather permitting, we'll be able to get a lot more done. Anyway, how's things with you? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope you're staying safe and well and enjoying your weekend. There's so much going on out in the big wide world, and for me personally. Theme of today's cabin chat is pick your crisis. There are that many of them going on right now. It's hard to keep track of exactly what is going on, because the media tends to focus on just one thing. We all know what that is. It's the Russia-Ukraine business. And that's very convenient for them. There is mass targeting, and has been since day one really, to get everybody's attention just focused on that one thing, and hopefully generate the conception amongst the population that that is the root cause of all of the world's problems. They're not talking about the various problems, they're just focusing on that one, and that is and will continue to be the government excuse for whatever happens to go wrong this year. And there's so much that is potentially going to go wrong this year. I started to make a little list when I came in from the chickens, but in all honesty, there's that much. I kind of started writing, then just gave up. So I'll be winging it for the majority of the cabin chat. Regular and astute viewers will have seen a couple of things that I popped on the community tab this week. Little news headlines. Well, I say headlines. The stories are kind of buried because the front page is just all about Russia and Ukraine and the Western response to maintain peace and democracy across the world. I can't say that without laughing, I'm sorry, but I just can't. It's just such BS. Anyway, I digress. Lots of things in the world going on right now, lots of different crises. Pick any one of those that you like, and it should give food for thought for you. And certainly act as an impetus to get you preparing if you aren't already preparing. Global economy, stock markets, financial markets, all tanked over the past week or so. Doesn't matter which country you look at, they're all pretty much the same. Markets are down across the entire globe. I'll pop some little screenshots as I go through the video. Just to prove it's not me. Lots of people are talking about it. Interest rate rises. We saw both the US and UK raise their interest rates over the past week. Interesting. Interest rates in the US now at 22-year highs. I suppose that's not entirely surprising since we have had rates hovering around 2% pretty much globally for the last almost a decade now. But yeah, they're rapidly on the move. I'm really kind of lucky that I got my house mortgage rate locked in, even though I haven't actually got the new house yet. I have got the mortgage in place already, so I'm pretty safe from future interest rises for at least a couple of years. We'll see how we get on with that, but yeah, it's causing a bit of alarm now, and quite a few different pronouncements from global financial institutions and from the central banks of lots of countries around the world. As interest rates rise, so too does inflation. Bank of England here in the UK said that interest rates are forecast to grow to 10% this year. That's pretty much mirrored across Western economies and some of the Asian economies as well. So in addition to all of the price hikes that we've seen through global supply chain issues, there is an element of, what's the word, price gouging? Deliberate manipulation, in other words, of prices off the back of the Russia-Ukraine war. Just prices in generally out of control now. The 10% that Bank of England's forecasting, bear in mind that's official government rates. I've said numerous times in previous videos, true inflation rates are certainly double digits. And I'll touch on inflation a little bit later. As if the global food supply chain didn't have enough to deal with, there's been quite significant weather events globally India and Pakistan, amongst other countries in South and Central Asia, having massive problems with excessive temperatures and early excessive temperatures. I mean, temperatures in those countries do rise to 40 and even sometimes 50 degrees in the summer months, pretty much every year, but not at this time of the year. We've only just started May and already temperatures are spiking pretty much across the globe. The big news are the big food producing countries in Southeast and Central Asia. India, Pakistan, crops decimated there, and populations also having real problems combating the high temperatures. Because of the cost of energy, they're having real problems keeping cool, running the air conditioners. The cost of doing that is prohibitive. And I've even seen reports out of the US, Texas in particular, talking about unusually high temperatures for this time of year. Again, southern states in America traditionally are hot during the summer months anyway, but again, not at this time of the year, not at the start of May. Indeed, here in the UK, I was commenting just last week about the temperatures here and the prolonged period without rain. Thankfully, and touch wood, we've had a little bit of a break this week, and we've had that couple of days of moderate, I would say, probably even light rain, rather than the normal spring showers that you would expect to see. And as I look out now across the garden room, I said earlier the sun is already up, and actually you can start to feel it now, and it's only very, very early in the morning here. So weather is adding to the woes of the global food production and supply chain, as if the fertiliser shortages and the pesticide shortages weren't enough. We're now combating unusually unseasonable hot weather. Unseasonable? Is that a word? You know what I mean, or I hope you do anyway. It kind of just adding on to that food supply chain thing. I've been round the shops over the past week, and I think I've commented before about gaps in shelves. I was in the supermarket yesterday, well in fact I was in a couple of supermarkets yesterday, picked up a few things and I had a general browse. I don't really get a chance normally to do that, but I did yesterday. And things like over-the-counter medication, empty shelves, hygiene items, so shower gels, female sanitary products, tissue, not so much toilet tissue, but face tissue, all in short supply. And some of the fruit and vegetable shelves also limited supply. Some canned goods, canned vegetables, particularly mixed vegetables, short supply. And of course everything has gone up in price. At work, interesting, I was talking to some people this week, and my current job, it's a global construction and consulting company, and they put out a little media article internally within the company on the intranet, and they were talking about the challenges that we're facing this year as a business, and particularly they were talking about the increase in prices for construction materials, and so much so that where you normally ask companies in your supply chain to provide quotes for materials or for services, they were saying that whereas normally a quote will last, depending on what it is that they're quoting for, a quote will last for a week, a month, or in some cases a couple of months. So they'll give you a price. They say, yeah, if you want us to do that, that's the price, and we'll hold that price for 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, whatever it is. They were now saying that they're asking suppliers to quote for materials, and the suppliers were stating on their quote, this price is only valid for 24 hours, because prices are increasing at that rate. You'll ask for a price today and it'll be £100, for example, and tomorrow it's £110 or £120 for the same thing. So yeah, supply chain and inflation wreaking havoc, not just with personal lives and the cost of living for families, but also for the cost of doing business for companies. Geese flying over. And all of this is having an impact. People are getting fed up of the cost of living increase, the lack of availability of certain items, so much so that countries are now at risk of collapse. Inflation rate in Turkey, now 70%. People are really fed up in Turkey, and so much so that they're on the streets complaining. Sri Lanka, another news headline this week. Massive civil unrest there due to the price and the increase in price of food and energy. So I haven't even touched on the Russia-Ukraine thing. And actually I'm not going to. I've mentioned it a couple of times, and the news media is so full of it, you can't go for a minute without something popping up on the mainstream media. So lots of different crises. So I guess the moral of the story is, pick whichever one of those things concerns you the most and impacts you the most in your day-to-day life, and start planning and preparing. Think about what you can do to mitigate the effects, whether it's lack of availability of food and other supplies, whether it's the cost of those items of food and other supplies, whether it's the potential economic collapse and maybe the impact on employment in your particular field of work or the company that you actually work for, or, God forbid, all of this provocation and deliberate provocation by Western governments in the Ukraine crisis does actually lead to an escalation of that crisis, and it creeps out of the current border of Ukraine into other nearby countries, or even worse, if the provocation of China ends up in them thinking, do you know what, while they're busy with Ukraine, we'll go do something over here in this other part of the world. So lots of crises, but please don't get too depressed about them all. There is still a little window of opportunity for you to start preparing if you haven't already, or to continue to build your preps and increase your resilience as we go through the coming months. But you can't really ignore all of these different things, and at some point they are all going to merge into one almighty mother of all crises as we head through the rest of this year. So without trying to sound too doom and gloomy, there's lots of stuff going on, lots of different crises, all of which are important and can hugely impact on you and your family. So please, I do urge you all to take it seriously, and whatever you can do to prepare yourself, please do. In terms of me and what I'm up to, busy again this weekend. My house sale still lingers on at a snail's pace. It's entirely down to solicitors or lawyers, depending on what you want to call them. They seem to be just having this endless shuffling backwards and forwards of paperwork internally within the solicitor company itself. I know they have all of the paperwork. They've done all of the checks they need to do. I'm just waiting for them to deliver all of this to me. I was on the phone to them yesterday, trying desperately to maintain my patience with them and my politeness with them. And they did tell me that they've now marked my individual case as a urgent priority one. So hopefully over the next week or two, we'll start to see a light at the end of that tunnel, and I'll end up with some keys in my hand. Really, I'm desperately itching to get going with the new house. Lots to do in there, but more importantly, I guess, give me a bit of stability and certainty as we head rapidly towards the summer months. I really do need to get settled in there for a whole host of reasons. Equally busy with work, lots of trips away this week and over the coming weeks, so time is limited for me. I was hoping to get some more grass cut today, but it is still wet underfoot. I guess we'll see how the sun develops over the course of the day. I might well merge this video today into tomorrow's and do what I did last week and have a combo video. Polytunnel, need 2 pairs of hands to stretch the plastic sheeting over the frame. It has settled. I think I mentioned it last week. It has settled over the last few weeks since I erected it, and it does need just tightening up a bit. Lots of things, but whatever I am doing today and tomorrow, I'll keep you posted as we go through the video. So let me get cracked on. I'll give you a little whiz around the garden, see what's happening with the planting, and I'll catch you all as we go through the video. Well, I promised you a little run round, see how the planting's doing. Can't complain about the garden room at all. All of these fruit bushes and trees are putting on some really nice growth. They'll soon be too big to be in here, actually. But really pleased with that. And it won't be long before we've got some blueberries, because the berries are all forming, look. Look at that. Very nice. Don't know if we'll get any figs this year. We got one the first year and nothing last year, which was very disappointing, but it is where it is. Let's see how we're getting on in here. Ah, we've actually got growth, look. Let's pop that out the way. No sign of life yet in the cabbage, but we've got broccoli coming through. We've got quite a few cauliflower coming through, so that's really nice. Let's have a little run outside. Chickens raised bed. Lots of lettuce now coming. Oh, there's borage as well at the back. Some borage coming through. So that's nice. Look at that sun peeking out, look. It's quite strong, that. Lots of hawthorns now flowering all the way along the wooded area. You can see that in the distance there. Let's have a look at these potato barrels. We did have that frost last week and I was a bit worried, but they've subsequently put on lots of growth in these barrels. Have had the odd one here and there that's been nipped by the frost last week. You can see that on some of the leaves, but other than that, they're putting on lots of growth. So that's really encouraging. Raised beds, all the onions doing really well. Don't know what's happened there with that. I think perhaps we've had birds. Yeah, it looks like we've had birds trying to land on top of this netting. Let's just twist that up a little bit. So they're all coming on very well, as is this other bed with a combination of garlic and onion. I don't know how that's occurred, but somehow a stray potato is sprouting in this raised bed. That's a bit bizarre. Strawberries doing really well now. And I planted a couple of pumpkin seeds in here, and they're coming through. There's one there. There's another one there. And look at this. The sweet corn. What a difference a week makes. All of a sudden, last week there was nothing. Now, lots and lots of shoots coming through. That's really nice. And similarly on this strawberry bed, all the strawberries doing really well. I did plant a couple of pumpkins in here, but I can't see them. Can't see any sign of them coming through yet. Let's have a little look in the polytunnel. Again, strawberries in bloom now. I planted some flower seeds in these, and they're coming through now. In these little outdoor planters. Yeah, it's starting to warm up in here. I think I'll leave that door open. Carrots doing really well. The succession planting, all these buckets, I staggered them by a couple of weeks, so these are all starting to put on some big growth. And even the last 6 buckets I planted, they're all coming through now as well. If you can see that or not on the camera, they are small, but they're coming through. Potatoes, veritable forest of potatoes now, all the way back through the various weeks of planting, up into including the last 3 buckets I did. They're all through now. The big debate, of course, is whether I put them outside or not. Is it still too early? Disappointing, these seed trays seem to be doing nothing at all. I've got cauliflower, swede, cucumber, tomato, not a sign of anything in those at all. So I don't know what's going wrong with planting this year. Apart from the potatoes and the carrots, early planting doesn't seem to have worked. So we might have to reseed those trays again. I'll leave that door open because it is quite warm now. Let's have a little wander, see what else we've got going on. Sun's out across the northern side of the field now, so I suspect it is going to warm up. Still quite a bit of cloud kicking around, so you never know, we might get some more rain. There's bloody geese, and they're too low, you can't see them because of the hedge line. Oh, there they are, just popping out. That's one thing we've got no shortage of around here, is geese. Bees are out, they're all congregating round the entrance. There's obviously a reason why they do that, I just don't know what it is. So if you're watching, Simon, is that some kind of temperature regulation for the hive? I'm not sure. I suspect it is. It won't take long though to get warmed up in there, now it's in full sun. We've got plenty of food. Look at all these hawthorn blooms. They're very nice. Very nice. Hawthorn's out all the way. You can see in the distance there where the car is. Loads. It's surprising how quickly these trees are maturing and developing in this little corner here. It's been a pain over the last couple of years kind of driving around them on the little red tractor as I've been cutting the grass, trying not to lose any of the smaller ones. But it's looking really nice now. They're all putting on a lot of growth. Even this one here. It looked like a little tiny twig, as if it had died, but clearly it hasn't. And it's putting out lots of side shoots. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next few years how this develops in terms of trees, because I have deliberately kept an awful lot, and all of this central area will fill out. Very nice. Anyway, I'm digressing again. Let me get cracked on and see where else I can get up to today. Well, I've watered in the polytunnel and the garden room. I'm just doing a bit of weeding in the raised beds. Frustrating a little bit that I've not yet managed to get some of the other vegetable crops sprouted from seeds and out into the raised beds. I'd hoped by now that I'd actually have stuff in here, but apart from the odd, well, I say the odd, there's lots of garlic and onion coming through. The other seeds have been very disappointing. They've not germinated at all. I've got a few broccoli and cauliflower in the garden room, but they're only just sprouting now and not enough to fill these beds for sure. So a little bit disappointing, but you work with what you've got. That's that one done. Let's move on to the others. I don't know where these stray potato plants come from. Strange. I suspect they've come from the compost or soil out of the containers from last year, and I've missed the odd stray tiny potato tuber, and it's ended up in the compost bin, because this bed is predominantly soil from the compost bin. Anyway, matters not. Just need to clear it out so that eventually I get some really seedlings in here. Right. Well, that's the raised beds weeded, looking very nice. Just unfortunate that some of them look very empty. But not to worry, we've still got plenty of stuff in the ground that's growing. And really pleased to see the sweet corn popping up. Will that survive through the summer? You might remember last year, towards the back end of the summer, we had sweet corn probably about 6 foot tall, and then all of a sudden something got in, rabbits, squirrels, not quite sure, and cut them all down. Hopefully we're not going to get a repetition of that this year. The sun is out now across more than half of the field, so I might just have a cup of coffee, see how it dries out, and if it's dry enough, have a run round with a little red tractor. Well, that's the red tractor out. I'll let it run for 5 minutes while I see how this sun dries out the grass, if it dries out the grass. It's coming and going and the clouds gathering, so I don't know. It might be a bluff. Maybe we're not going to get a hot sunny day after all, and I might not get it cut, but we'll see. Well, that's the first load of grass cut. So as usual, it's the weekend, so we need greenery for the chickens. It is still a little bit damp out there. The sun just keeps disappearing, so I don't know how much of this I'll get done today, but we'll keep pressing on and see. It's clogging up the chute at the back of the tractor. You just can't get the break, can you? The sun comes out, you get all excited, and sure enough, as soon as you start, the sun goes back in again. But it is what it is. We'll keep having a little play with it, see how we get on, but I suspect I might not get much done today with grass cutting. Well, that's the top end of the field done. It's been a bit of a chore because it's so damned wet still. The sun's disappeared altogether. So it's been a little bit difficult. I've had to keep stopping to unblock the chute at the back, but it's looking good. Quite pleased. I'll not do any more today because it's just too wet. And to be fair, the other bits, the central bit and the bit at the northern end of the field, they're actually not bad in terms of length. It's only really the wooded area and this part at the near the entrance and the roadway that gets the longest, the quickest. So we'll empty some grass, and I think we'll not be too long before we're calling it a day. I did want to get the polytunnel done, but I need 2 pairs of hands for that, and I can't get those today, so maybe tomorrow. If so, I'll pop a little clip in. Well, quick little update for you. It's Sunday. Complete difference in the weather. Was praying for rain and we got some. It wasn't exactly a huge downpour, but enough. It means I'll not be able to get any grass cut today, but I'm very thankful for it. It's watered the outside beds, and it'll be filling up the water tanks. One thing I can do, it's going to be a bit damp, but needs doing. You remember when I put the polytunnel cover on? It was a single-handed job. Now it's had a chance to get out in the weather, especially the hot sun we've had. It's managed to sort of settle down onto the frame. So if you can see this or not, we've got an excess on this side. It just wants those wooden battens taken off, stretching the polythene and then putting back on again. I think I did mention it yesterday, the Saturday video. It was a 2-man job, which it is. I struggled to get this on my own, but I've actually got reinforcements today. So we're going to get a bit of an extra pair of hands to help me, and that's if nothing else happens, that's a good job done. it'll just stop the chances of the wind getting underneath and causing problems. So I'll do that far side, the difficult bit by the fence, and then I might take another look at this side. But I suspect if I take up the slack on this end, that'll finish it off. Try to find all the screws amongst the undergrowth. I knew this wouldn't be a 2-minute job. Fiddly. Well, that's the first one off. Bit of a struggle, but that's that side done. Thankfully we've got helping hands. So just digging out this side now, because I'd buried the plastic along this edge. So time consuming, but worth doing. Doesn't look like there's much play, but there is. I don't know if you'll see or not as I roll down. You see it curling up over the batten. So I don't know, another half hour or so and we'll have this side done. Well, that's the batten's back on, looking a lot tighter now. Just need to fill in and cover the plastic sheet up with the gravel and soil and we're done. Well, I've finished the polytunnel frame and cover, got that nicely tightened down. Still too wet outside to be cutting grass, so I thought I'd reseed some more of these trays. Really quite disappointing, the lack of germination. Just trying to find somewhere to stand. I've got that many plants in pots, so I'm just going to pop a couple of tomato seeds in. Do the same with the cucumber. Try reseeding, see if I get anywhere. I don't know what's up with these seeds this year, whether it's the temperature or whether it's the seed itself, who knows, but they're just not wanting to germinate. So that's a tomato done. Get that covered over and watered in, and do the same with the cucumber. Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens with this tray. But it has been really disappointing. I hope it's not a sign of things to come for this year. I was hoping I'd be transplanting seedlings into the raised beds by now, but apart from the potato and carrot and the onions, I guess, and the garlic, can't complain about them, but the other things, yeah, disappointing. Anyway, let's not give up, let's keep banging away. If you don't try, you're never going to get there, so we'll just keep plodding on. It is still early though, it's only the start of May, so I suppose I shouldn't complain too much. It's just that this time last year I had a decent amount of seedlings germinating. Right, that's tomato and cucumber. I think I'll be tempted to perhaps reseed these trays as well. Disappointing, but we're not giving up. Oh, here's the next tray. Beetroot and swede. So beetroot in this end one. There we go. And swede in this one. There we go. So, fingers crossed. Well, I finished on that side. I've just put in cabbage and cauliflower. So I wasn't going to try and grow broccoli this year, but I figure if I plant as many different varieties of vegetable as I can, we'll see which ones are liking the conditions and germinate. Very frustrating that the germination rates are so poor, but nothing I can physically do about it except keep planting, and hopefully we'll get the weather conditions that they like. Right, that's those in. I suppose the burning question is, do I want to do a few more buckets of carrots? I think not. Maybe next week. One thing that is doing well is the carrots. They're following on nicely from each other. Right. That's another weekend pretty much gone. I would like to stay longer, but I've just got so many other things to do. I'm travelling a lot again next week for work. I'm either doing a 2-hour train ride early in the morning and then same again in the late afternoon, or I'm doing a 4-hour drive each way in the car. They're certainly keeping me busy. Right, that's it. I'll have a quick tidy up and I think it'll be about time to be done. Well, that's it for another day and another weekend. The time really does fly by. But we've achieved a bit this weekend. We've tidied up the raised beds, everything's looking okay. Done a bit of extra planting or reseeding in the polytunnel. Those clouds just keep threatening rain. I really did think this weekend we'd be getting some decent sunshine, but it's just been very intermittent, and whilst it hasn't rained, it's threatened rain during the day. However, I'm not complaining. It's going to be topping up the water tanks, this little bit of rain we've been having during the night. Not a phenomenal amount, but it's surprising how much you capture off the roof of the cabin and the garden room. It doesn't take that much actually to refill the tanks. Host of different flowers over here, look at this. Since I started managing this grass properly, phenomenal amount of different flowers. There's the usual suspects, the dandelions, millions of those on this field, but it's a surprising amount of other stuff. I mean, there's those blue ones there, there's some different blue ones over here. It's really quite surprising. Whole host of them in amongst these bushes, look. Really is nice to see the variety of wildflowers on the field. Really is. If I spent a bit more time wandering around, you'd see loads of others. Just wondering what that is there, look. Something's laid an egg and something else has come along and eaten it. It's not one of mine because it's the wrong colour. I've seen a couple of those from time to time scattered around the field. I don't know what it is that's laying them. Grass is looking real nice, that little bit that I got done yesterday. Look at these catkins. How nice is that? Yeah, it's looking good. Keep it under control now to save me the heartache later. Anyway, that's it for today. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope you're staying safe and well, enjoying your weekend, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Just feel free to leave them in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.